Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on DFE News, News Done Right. I'm Jeff Kirk. A lot's happening in the news. Let's get right to it. President Trump expressed frustration with both Israel and Iran as the countries attacked each other Monday night after previously agreeing to a ceasefire. He raised eyebrows by using the F word in his anger against the two countries. Check out the video.
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Within minutes of the peace agreement taking effect, Iran fired more ballistic missiles at Israel, which responded with more airstrikes. President Trump said he was not happy with Israel and was not happy with Iran either, but he was going to see if he can stop it. The ceasefire agreement came only hours after Iran launched a volley of ballistic missiles at the U.S.-owned Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, which the U.S. shot down. We join our brothers and sisters around the world who continue to pray for the safety of the people of both Israel and Iran and for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. Despite what President Trump considers to be the success of the U.S. airstrikes against Iran, Democrats in Congress are expressing outrage at the way he ordered the attack. Democrats claim the White House does not have the authority to order military strikes on its own, which they say is a violation of the War Powers Act, even though President Obama conducted strikes on 7 Middle East countries during his tenure without getting a single new war vote from Congress. Democrats also claim the White House did not properly notify congressional Democrat leadership of the airstrikes in advance. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer seems to have contradicted himself within a few days, first sounding irate that President Trump would fold on Iran, then getting angry that he bombed Iran's nuclear sites. Take a look.
If Taco Trump is already folding, the American public should know about it. No side deals.
Congress and the American people are owed answers. No president should be allowed to unilaterally march this nation into war with erratic threats, no strategy, no explanation.
Not all Democrats were critical of Trump, however. Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman says the decision to strike Iran was the correct move and offered praise to the U.S. military forces involved in the strikes, while Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said President Trump should be impeached for his actions, to which President Trump responded, "Make my day." We've been hearing a lot of stories in the news lately about judges getting arrested, but the issue isn't new. Over the last few years, there have been a number of judges gone wild who've been arrested or had to resign in disgrace. California attorney and expert witness Okorie Okorocha joins us now to explain what's been going on with judges around the country. Okorie, let's start with the most recent and then go back in time because it seems there's been quite a few cases of judges gone wild recently. The most recent from today is U.S. District Judge Brian Murphy defying the Supreme Court by saying his ruling regarding deportation still stands, even though the Supreme Court ruled the opposite. It certainly seems that he is putting himself above the Supreme Court here. Is that really what's going on?
I would say no. I would say he is interpreting the ruling in a reasonable manner, and even the attorneys for the Trump administration asked the Supreme Court for a clarifying order. And Judge Murphy's interpretation is consistent with the dissenting Supreme Court justices in that case. So there is some room there for reasonable minds to disagree.
Next up are judges Hannah Dugan in Wisconsin and Jose Luis Cano and his wife in New Mexico getting arrested for hiding illegals or assisting them with evading the law. Dugan at the courthouse and Cano at his own home, even taking photographs of himself with a suspected Tren de Aragua member holding firearms. What were these judges thinking?
Hannah Dugan interfering with the federal investigation or arrest, not smart, very bad idea. You know, you're at work and you're there to sit in judgment of other people committing crimes, yet you are involved in committing a crime. So that's just, completely out of line. Judge Cano, I have no idea what's going on there or what the thinking was or how he even got involved in with these people and why he would even take that risk. just about anything can happen when you have who are possibly Venezuelan gang members, being harbored in your home.
So next up are some state judges over the last few months that have had to resign because of alleged inappropriate comments to staffers, some sexual in nature or other offhanded comments that didn't sit very well. Doesn't the law apply to these particular judges as well?
Yes, and I don't believe these were all federal judges. It's different with federal judges. Federal judges, they have to be impeached. They're appointed for life. The state judges, yes, can be removed, and a lot of these things do happen a lot. There are clerks of the court or other females or possibly males that are attracted to people in power like judges, and a lot of these things go on more often than not. They're mostly swept under the rug, however.
So take, for instance, Judge Torgerson from Utah there. He was presiding over a case involving a case of child sexual assault, and to which he commented upon seeing some evidence that he had seen worse. What's your comment on that?
Yeah, Utah is probably the last state that you'd probably want to, downplay sexual abuse, but you should never downplay it anywhere. But I did notice he went to the University of Idaho, which is a rival university to where I went, Washington State University. And it's in Moscow, Idaho, which has more cows than people and a lot of boredom. So I'm sure he probably has seen worse, but that's a very inappropriate comment to make.
Okorie, you had your own run-in with a judge in California based on the California Racial Justice Act. Could you tell us what happened there?
Yes, the California Racial Justice Act was enacted to allow defendants or their attorneys to file a motion when they believe a judge's treatment of them is racially inappropriate. In my case, I did not make any of the decisions. I wasn't there. However, a judge that had accepted me and deemed me an expert witness in the past, and who's in the same county that I've been deemed an expert and accepted in the past hundreds of times. I've been accepted as an expert 500 times, over 500 times, in 56 of the 58 California counties, 27 US states, and in Germany and Japan. High profile cases like the George Floyd civil case, but the judge ruled on her own that I could not be deemed an expert or called an expert, and I could not talk about the George Floyd civil case. The Los Angeles public defenders thought that ruling was so outrageous and racially unjust that they filed the motion. I had nothing to do with the filing of the motion, or, I'm not, a director at the LA Public Defender's Office. They even saw it as objectively unfair. And that's just my latest run-in.
So there is quite a risk involved with crossing judges, though, isn't there? Whether it's if it's an attorney like you or if it's something like the Trump administration, there's quite a high level of taking a chance.
There certainly is. And it's much higher for attorneys like me who support the Constitution, want to fight for the Constitution, but a judge on a whim can file a criminal charge against me. And, they can just do it by just drafting an affidavit, or they can just do, sentence you directly to contempt for 5 days in jail, just like that in court instantly. So it's different when you're dealing with, say, the Trump administration. That's a whole administration. We can't throw the administration of the whole entire country in jail because they don't do something.
Although many seem to have tried. But with regard to the judges, they still have to be accountable in some way, don't they?
State court judges do, but they say federal judges can basically get away with murder. Federal judges are federally appointed for life. I've never heard of one being removed or impeached. And there are a lot of judges who have high reversal rates on appeal. 40% of their decisions get overturned on appeal, yet they just continue to make the same wacky rulings over and over. And there's really not much you can do about it.
Well, Okorie, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. Please take care.
Take care.
Thanks. We'll leave you with this: a widely shared image of a sign for In-N-Out Burger advertising free food for ICE agents has been proven to be a fake. The image, which made the rounds on various social media platforms, says "Free burgers for all ICE agents in uniform. Thank you for your service," and generated praise from some users while others called for boycotts of the popular burger chain. A spokesperson for the In-N-Out company says the image is AI generated and the company does not have any such offer. And with that, I think it's time for a double-double animal style. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, comment, and engage so we can reach more viewers. Thanks for watching DFE News, news done right. See you next time.